Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator the Honorable Convener Johnson Smith speaks about achievements under her ministry. Welcome, I'm Ian Boyne. Minister, your main achievements in a critical ministry like Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, how would you delineate them?
It's such a long list. I'm going to try to be brief because it's been an excellent year for the ministry. I think one of the most important matters that the Jamaican public might be interested in is, of course, the success we've had in recalibrating our relationship with Trinidad. You know, we hit a low point last year when in March we had a significant number of returnees. In fact, it had trended up. We've actually succeeded in having a 64% reduction in returnees from Trinidad between March of 2016 and December of 2016. And we've significantly improved our bilateral relations. The Trinidadian government also kept its commitment to ensure that there's a facility renovated at the Piarco airport to ensure that persons who are being returned to their country of origin, including Jamaicans, are accommodated in a comfortable and dignified setting. They're also working, and we're working with them to improve their processes so that processing takes less time. And that, I think, will be good for us in terms of our relations because, of course, you know, freedom of movement or the ability to move between our countries is important and perhaps the most tangible way in which people experience regional integration. So that's one of the most important things I think we've achieved.
How have we done in terms of CARICOM relations generally?
Well, we continue to build our relations, and as the Prime Minister has said, and the ministry supports him in this view, that strengthening our bilateral relations will also strengthen the working of the body. And you know that one of the important things that we are doing is our CARICOM Reform Review Commission. So it's actually the CARIFORUM Review Commission, because it's looking at not only our relationship with the 13 members of CARICOM, but it includes CARIFORUM, which has Cuba and the Dominican Republic as members as well.
And your ministry sees CARICOM as an important plank.
Well, certainly our 13 closest neighbors must be considered important in our way forward.
Saw in the press, Minister, that you had a large number of meetings, a wide range of meetings. Tell us about some of these meetings.
Indeed. Well, some of them we'd actually class among our achievements as well. So there was a delegation that I led to Mexico for a meeting of our binational commission in the context of our 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations. There we signed off not only on an agreement to exchange information from tax perspectives, but we also signed off on a plan of action for cooperation for the next year, including cultural training and preservation of cultural heritage. So we're going to have training of our craftspersons so that we can have more inclusive growth in our tourism sector. And that's something that I'm very proud and excited about. We also went to Panama, where not only did we experience the opening of the expanded Panama Canal, but we signed an agreement with their foreign ministry to ensure that there's established a new binational commission with Panama, where we're going to be exploring trade cooperation, logistical cooperation, and youth exchanges, among a number of things. And that commission will have its first meeting this year. I also ensured that I had significant diaspora engagements. So I met with the diaspora in New York, in London, in Canada, in Miami, in Washington, D.C., in Tokyo, in Belgium. And in Belgium, my meetings in Belgium were held in the capacity of my chairmanship of CARIFORUM, which is again one of the achievements throughout the year, because I took the chair of CARIFORUM in July 2016, and I will hold it until June of this year. So I lead the 15-member group in meetings among ourselves with the ACP and in the joint ACP-EU meetings. And in that context, we have been advocating, and I have been advocating on behalf of the region for matters including addressing correspondent banking issues and de-risking, how that affects us as a region, Brexit and the implications for trade with both the EU and the UK, and also our implementation of the EPA, because of course the Economic Partnership Agreement between the CARIFORUM member states and the EU provide the preferential trade arrangements under which we execute trade with all of the European member states.
And Minister, have you been taking a position on some of the development issues before the UN, for example, the issue of the status of middle-income countries vis-a-vis concessional aid.
Absolutely. One of the developmental issues which I championed, and it was my very first international meeting, was at the UN General Assembly special session on the world drug problem. And there I advocated for a forward-looking position in respect of cannabis, treatment of cannabis. And this is something which we work with closely with the Ministry of Justice on, and it's something that we continue also to work through in the World Health Organization, because the fact is that as we seek to grow a cannabis industry here in scientific and medical research, and we also seek to protect the rights of our Rastafari community or Rastafarian community to smoke for the purposes of the sacrament, we also have to manage our international relations and our very real responsibilities under the conventions to ensure that we don't breach any rules which recognize, unfortunately, cannabis still as a Schedule 1 and Schedule 4 drug within the UN Convention system.
Is there a collaboration with the private sector to see what its interests are and how those interests intersect with those of the administration?
Indeed, certainly the portfolio of foreign trade is not one which is undertaken by the government. We can negotiate the arrangements, but certainly we don't trade. So it's very important to ensure that we have a good relationship with the private sector, that they understand what we are doing, that we understand their needs, and that both of us work together in the interests of Jamaica and the expansion of our trade. This is why our foreign trade policy, a new foreign trade policy, is one of our priorities for 2017 and one of the things we're currently working on. I do think that the ministry can improve how we interact with the private sector, and this is one of the things that I've charged the team with working on.
Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator the Honorable Camino Johnson-Smith, talking about her achievements in her ministry and giving us some perspectives on her take on foreign policy.